All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Global Renaissance Podcast. I got my boy Chosky with me.
Hey,
How you
what's
doing,
up,
bro?
my brother?
So today we're doing a little bit different. Usually it's like an interview, but today we just came to talk shit.
I'm good at that.
Facts. Chosky, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing all right. I can't complain. Just started school in my last semester at Boston College.
Heard you.
So I'm taking 6 classes this semester.
Oh, my fault.
Big workload.
Scholar.
Feel me? I'm on my scholarship shit. But yeah, I'm excited for the new year. A lot of exciting things coming up. So just trying to stay focused.
Heard you. Now, Chosky and I have known each other for like 10 years. We went to high school together and middle school, something like that. But really, like, so basically for the last like week, I've just been like posting shit on my Instagram story, like just like questions and stuff. And I want to talk about something because some of them are pretty interesting. So I'm actually like just going to go through my story. Like
Let's get it.
The most interesting one to me, I still remember, I posted on Sunday because I grew up in church. Like my mom's a whole ass pastor. I probably didn't miss a Sunday of church for like 13, 14 years. But then I stopped going. So I just asked, like I literally asked my story. I was like, for my people who grew up in church, like, do y'all still go? And I'm trying to go actually to the thing and find like the results. But like I think a lot of people said that they did. Hold on, let me find it. There it is. Okay, so 56% of people said that they still go, and 44% of people don't. Now, did you grow up in church?
I did grow up in church.
You still go to church, right?
I still go to church from time to time.
Why you still go to church?
I still go to church because sometimes I feel like I'm called to go to church. I don't go to church every Sunday. I can't cap and be like I'm a regular. You know, I definitely have my Saturday nights that go a little too long. So, if you catch what I'm saying, but definitely I still go to church. I think the days I do, it's usually like someone reaches out. I know we have a mutual friend, Matt Thompson Jr. And his family, they run a church, Jubilee, especially. I've seen you there a lot of times too.
Facts.
So yeah. Shout out to y'all. But yeah, sometimes I'll get called and invited to go there. My mom is also very religious, so I'll go with her a lot of the time. She also runs a church. Well, she's helping somebody run a church right now. And it's been cool. I get invited. I get called. I don't really go out my way. But what would you say yourself?
I like went through like this. I've gone through like so many on and off periods of going to church. Like it's been like, obviously, like I said, I grew up in church and I stopped going because basketball practice would be on Sundays, which was like the perfect excuse. It was amazing. But then like when I got to college, like I really didn't have to go to church because I'm like, ain't nobody checking for me on Sunday. I went and play pickup basketball during church time. But I like this year or last year, I guess, like late 2021, I was like, you know what? Let me start going to church again. I listen to mad gospel music, so I was like, let me start going to church again. And I went for like a couple weeks straight. I was doing it. I was like, I'm gonna go every Sunday. Like, this is gonna be my thing. And eventually I was just like, do I really want to go?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, do I feel obligated to do this versus is this something that like I really want to do? And when I really examined it, I was like, I don't actually like want to be here. Like, it's cool. I like the music. It's fun. But like, I wake up in the morning like I don't want to go. So I just stopped going. And if I feel like going again, I will. But I'm not the type where I feel like, especially like just, I don't see the value for me. Like, I'm not saying it's not valuable. If you like it, whatever. But, like, for me, I just feel like your faith life is so personal that it's like, okay, I'm supposed to subscribe to all these rules of this church or whatever. Meanwhile, the person standing up at the pulpit, you got his own problem. So how are you going to preach to me? You know what I'm saying? So that was always kind of, like, my thing. And it's like, we've all heard about, I mean, we went to Catholic school and like our school, yo, you remember the Spotlight scandal, bro?
Oh yeah.
So we went to this school called BC High, and BC High is a Catholic school. And so, shout out to y'all. If y'all want to send me some money, because they asking me for money, so I'm gonna ask y'all for money anyway. Hey. So we went to this school, and so
in the description,
yeah, hit the GoFundMe. So we went to this school, and like if y'all remember, like there was like, what was it, the 70s, 60s, something like that, like the Catholic priest scandal, or whatever. That happened at our high school because there used to be priests there. Well, I guess there still are. But there was a movie that came out like 2014, 2015 called Spotlight. And it was like we all used to hang out after school because like everybody used to commute to school or whatever, and we would hang out like in the teachers' like classrooms and shit. And then when the movie came out, they're like, y'all can't hang out in the teachers' classrooms no more. And we're like, why? They were like, well, it's not because of the movie. And we're like, y'all think we're stupid. They deadass thought we were stupid. But yeah, so like that's the type of stuff that happens in church. So it's like, okay, if this person who's supposed to be like the next closest person to God is doing this type of stuff, then I'm not really listening to another person about what I should be doing in my life. So that's kind of how I looked at it. So I don't really go to church no more, but I think it has value just depending on who you are. But like for me, like I'm not particularly interested.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I agree with you, and that's why I think it's important, especially with people within our community, to know our history and really practice whatever religious routine, whatever spiritual routine you have. It's like you can create church in your own spaces.
Facts.
And you can create church, and you don't have to look at somebody else as the next closest connection to God, because you are that kind of vessel. And I think what you're saying is real important, like your connection to gospel music, like that, like music can be a form of church.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So I resonate with that a lot.
And not to get like too deep into this is not like an anti-church rant or anything like that. But if we're being honest with ourselves, like I was having this conversation with my aunt, like we're black people, well, black Americans, like those of like either, descendants of U.S. or like Caribbean slavery, like we're really only Christians because of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the only reason. Like you didn't see Christianity in sub-Saharan Africa right before colonialism. So it's like that's one of those things where you look at the history of it, it's like the only reason we even subscribe to this religion is because of this thing that happened to us that nobody celebrates other than in this religious context. So like for me at least, it's just one of those things that it doesn't really fit where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like you were saying, I think it's about like your connection. So for me, when I would go to church, I love I love like the devotion part, like when they're playing the music, and then when the pastor starts preaching, I kind of tune out. So I'm like, well, I can just play my gospel playlist at home and save the time driving to church. So that's kind of how I did it. So that's what I think about that. Another thing that I posted on my story, I think this was the first one I posted. So I had watched a TikTok. And it was this dude, and he had said, shout out to TikTok. But it was this dude, and he had said that like if he thinks a girl is like fine, he'll
Let's get into it.
I wish I could see this man off camera.
See, we don't went to church. Now it's
that was it. That was the only like intelligible thing I had to say today. We're talking shit now. But he was like, if I see a girl that's fine, I'm not just gonna go straight up to her and be like, yo, I think you fine. Like, what's up? He's gonna try to be friends first, and then like see if they vibe. And so I threw that up on my story, and I was like, yo, do y'all think y'all can be friends with someone you're attracted to? And like 83% of people said yes. But then I asked two more questions. So I was like, ladies, do you prefer a man to express their romantic or sexual interest from the outset, or can things change? And like 60% of the people responded said things can change. But I just feel like that's a little bit like not reflective of what actually happens. Like how do you approach if you see somebody you're interested in or you find attractive? What is your approach?
Well, okay. My approach personally is I like all different types of people. So I'm not really looking. Okay, let's obviously start there. Physically, we're gonna start with physical attraction because I know that's what is on everyone's mind, and y'all would think I was cap if I didn't mention it. But I don't think it's everything for me. Like I think mostly when I'm looking at somebody, I'm looking at creativity is a big thing for me. Are you somebody who can get it out the mud? Are you somebody who can make something happen for yourself? Are you somebody who believes in yourself? I think how you treat yourself is really indicative of how you would treat somebody else. How you treat other people is really important to me. So yeah, that type of relationship can definitely start from a friendship, because a lot of those genuine qualities that I look for in a partner are definitely something that I would have already in a friend. I've had a lot of friendships where people have taught me more about myself. And I think ultimately in a relationship, if that's the goal, then yeah, I would be looking for somebody who could replicate those qualities that I have in those closer relationships, because my friends are very important to me.
So then how do you distinguish between someone you just view as a friend and someone you want more from?
Okay, I think that energy doesn't lie. I'm big on energy. I'm big on communication, even though it's difficult. I know it's difficult. So for me to say it's important is just recognizing that you still have to do it, even if it's difficult. I think that I've had quite a few situationships. I can't say I've been in a relationship.
So I'll keep you in the streets.
Okay, hey, hey, I got the Addy. You feel me? I know where to hold it down. But when I say that, I'm just saying I can't really speak from experience in terms of I've been in a committed relationship and I know all the different dynamics, the give and take, the sacrifice, and having to really not always have your way, but also have boundaries on things that you stand on. I know that definitely is a difficult part of genuine relationships, But I know the BS too. I know the bullshit. Like I know you talking to somebody, like y'all getting it back and forth, and you definitely have emotions involved. But sometimes you are not in the position to really pursue those, because a relationship at the end of the day it's a social dynamic too. Like you have to understand that, and within society, a lot of times you're not always in the position or the standing, whether it be economically for a lot of the men out there. If we're gonna talk about
relationships are an investment. Them shits is expensive as hell.
He's talking about it. Whether it's emotionally, whether it's whatever it may be, whatever y'all are exchanging, but it is an exchange. So I think for me, I definitely have been in positions where I'm very often in a position where I'm doing a lot of the giving. I'm also some of my friends might say a chaser, even though I think I'm real genuine. Anyway, but yeah, I ran track with Trevor. Like I've always been a runner. So whether I'm running to something or away from something, like that's my MO. I'm not gonna lie. And it's definitely something we could talk a whole lot about healing and get into the process of like
no, let's unpack that. Where does that come from?
Oh, now you that's gonna be on the next segment. But no, if you really want to unpack it though, like I mean it comes from the societal expectations and the different experiences we have. Like I definitely can say I've been through certain experiences. I identify on the margins pretty much in most of the sectors. Now that's not my main identity. Like I can tell you there's many things, and if you really know me, there's not many words you could use that describe me adequately. I'm not gonna say,
niggas different.
That's one way to put it. But definitely, I would say that like is recognizing that difference and being able to stand on that, and that's how I've been. I always keep it 100 with the people. I even though I make mistakes, I might fall, I might fumble, but I get up.
Why have you never been in a committed relationship? Is that by choice?
Ooh.
Is that by choice? Do you just be like, I'm just living my life in the streets right now, and I'll settle down when I feel like it? Or you just feel like, damn, like I just, like, what's the reason?
You know what? I think about this question sometimes, and I think it's a lot to do with the fact that, like you said, I am a different person, but everybody has, what I mean? I'm not going to say that I haven't had situations where I felt attraction and had that. I think with me, it's about trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in a lot of situations where I'm experimenting with trusting people, because I always give people the benefit of the doubt, and I always give people a second chance. So a lot of times that leads me in being in positions of feeling like betrayed, feeling neglected, feeling unrecognized. And I think those are definitely heavy feelings to sit with. So, and sometimes you don't always get the closure. I know y'all out there, y'all been in a situation where you ever been just blocked, ghosted, whatever, like dealing with that.
I always get unblocked.
Hey, shit, you block me, go away. But nah, real shit though, like I feel like everyone, literally do what you got to do. Do what's best for you. Everyone has to do what's best for them. And it came to a point where I had to start doing what's best for me. And if you're not, ready to meet me where I'm at, and I meet you where you at, and we both bring what we have to the table together with the flaws and everything entailed, I don't do surface level. I want to know you for real. So if we not gonna do that, I saw a post the other day. It was like, if you in a situationship and you saying I love you, that's unprofessional. And I had to repost it, and I was like, well, I'm self-employed. Because at the end of the day, like, it's about the energy. So I'm not quick to put a label on it, but if there is a situation where we both adults and we come to terms and say, I want to be with you and you want to be with me, I think I could do it. I ain't just met that person yet.
I don't believe it, but I would love to see it. I would love to see it, because like I'm like a serial monogamous. Like I'm always in a relationship. I'm not at the current moment, but like I'm like usually in a relationship, and I'm not gonna expose myself on here, but I got some things to work on as well. But I just think it's interesting, like how people go about kind of attacking relationships. Because like I said, for me, like if I want a girl, I'm gonna tell you off rip, because I don't want you to get this confused, because I don't want like us to be 6 months into a relationship, you think we friends and I'm trying to fuck with you. Like I don't want that. Okay. And I think that's something that happens where like people are like, oh, things can change. I don't believe in the friend zone. Like I don't really subscribe to that theory, but I do think there's merit to the fact that you start to see somebody in a certain light where it's like, yo, if that's the homie, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's say one of my female friends, like, hits me, then we be friends for 2 years. She like, yo, I want to fuck with you. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, bro, you the homie. Like, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you start to kind of compartmentalize people. And so I just feel like I'm going to let you know. It might not be overt, like, yo, like, I like you type shit. But I'm going to let you know. I'm going to even flirt with you. I'm going to say something because I don't want you to get shit confused. So I think it's interesting because a lot of women, like, again, people sent their responses and stuff. But people was like saying, like, things can change. I'm like, because I've seen the TikToks, I've seen the posts where it's like, when your male friends say, I want to talk to you, I got to tell you something. So I just think it's funny, the discrepancy between what, people say. But that's why I like doing these polls, because like people really get to talk, they talk.
Okay, I'm going to pose a question back to you then. What do you say about, as, you with your homeboys or whatever, and there's that one girl, maybe she wasn't looking whatever a couple years ago, but now she come around and she's looking different. And now she might have been a homie, a friend back then, but now she looking
if you
different.
If you glow up, it's a totally different situation.
Oh, how's that a different situation? You was homies.
It's a whole different situation, but now you're bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a totally, because like sometimes, you gotta, because you just, if you're not attracted to somebody, it is what it is. And if you glow up, now we have to reassess the situation. So like, I just feel like, I do think things can change. I just think there needs to be like, there's generally something significant that happens in order to induce that change, other than someone just saying like, hey, we've been friends for a couple months, but now I'm interested in pursuing something more. If they weren't already thinking about you like that, then I think it's hard to do that. But if something significant changes, like let's say, for example, you become friends with someone, they're in a relationship, then they break up and y'all start hanging out like on your dolly stuff, that's a significant change where it might change the dynamic. Or if someone becomes a lot more attractive, that's going to change the dynamic. But if you was hit when we first became friends and now you got bad, I'm definitely going to reevaluate, like for sure.
Okay. All right. Then I got a second one for you. So what do you think about the concept? If we're going to be real, you say you want to talk shit. What about when niggas be saying, oh, like, this is the one I'm saving. Like, you too good for me right now, but I'm gonna come back.
Now that's real. That's real.
That's a real shit.
That's real.
Okay, so what about that?
I just think
now
that
you friends, you kiki and y'all cool, but you in your mind, you want to spin the block.
I think that's a dangerous game to play. I think that's definitely a dangerous game
Let's
to play.
talk about it. We're gonna talk about everything.
I think that's a dangerous ass game to play, because it's like, all right, well, one, I think there's nothing wrong with like proposing it. I just don't have, like, if I were to do that, I wouldn't have any expectation that like you accept it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't gotta wait for nobody. Like, if I'm like, yo, I'm not ready right now, then you feel free to do whatever the hell you want to do. But it's like, all right, cool. At the same time, while y'all friends or whatever, like, it's, if y'all like each other, especially, y'all gonna be doing stuff where it's like, okay, we're friends, we talk all the time, we're building a relationship, and if there's already feelings there, they're gonna keep building. And it's like, okay, let's say I'm in the streets, right, and you see me fucking this girl, that girl, you're gonna get upset if you have real feelings. And if I have feelings for you and I see you fucking this nigga and that nigga, I'm gonna get upset. So I think it's a very dangerous game to play when you've acknowledged feelings, but you're like, I can't pursue it, but you also try to maintain some type of relationship. Actually, I'm gonna pause this real quick because the camera's gonna pause. Right. But we're gonna
start. We'll be right back.
Oh shit. All right. What was I saying?
We was talking about it's a dangerous game to play.
Oh yeah, it's a dangerous game to play because it's like, again, like I've done that. I've definitely done that.
Come on, let's talk
like
about it.
There was this. Damn, she might watch this. I don't know.
She out there.
No, she knows who she is. But like, there was this girl, like when I was in school, we started talking, and it was like we was friendly, but it was kind of just like we both like, I was like, I like you, you like me, all right, cool. But it was just like the situation just wasn't, the timing just didn't line up. Yeah. So we were still friends, but we hang out all the time, and I'm like, okay, well, if we're not together, then I'm just gonna go, do my thing.
Do what it do.
And it became a point of conflict like multiple different times. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, well, we're not together, so I don't know why you're tripping. But at the same time, it's like, I kind of get it, because it's like, if you both know you like each other and you hang out all the time, it's basically a relationship. You just not acknowledging it. So it's like I said, that's why I say it's a dangerous game to play, because it's like y'all playing with each other's feelings unintentionally, and you might ruin the back end. When you should go try to spin the block, you might have done way too much damage on the front end. So that's why I say it's a dangerous game.
It is a dangerous game, but it's a dangerous league.
It's fun though.
Out here, it's like you saw that post. It's like it's easier. I'd rather talk to a girl in a relationship than a girl who's single because it's easier to go up against one than up against 20. And it's sad because that's literally how. It's sad because I'm sorry to y'all.
Have you ever
there.
pulled someone out of a relationship? You ever been on homewrecker?
Whoa. We on air. I'm not going to say I wrecked any homes. I have not wrecked any homes, but I definitely been a maid a couple times. I definitely might have had to take care of the home while,
Well, you can't wreck a home that's on a solid foundation, so it's not your fault.
Anyway, I think that was my past. I feel like I'm in the...
You've grown?
How
long ago is that?
I think that was, maybe a couple years. Maybe a few years.
Okay. I thought this nigga was going to say like last month.
I'm in my celibacy era.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so
okay, talk to us about that. Why?
Why am I celibate?
Yeah.
Well, because I feel like I think sex in general in our generation today is very much about consumerism. It's kind of even
go ahead,
me,
hit him with the vocab.
Feel me? I'm sorry. I'm gonna hit you with a little. If you want to talk about, it, we're gonna talk about it.
Niggas in college.
Yeah, I'm taking this class right now. Like, but on a serious note though, like I wanted to change my relationship with sex. I wanted to understand. It was one thing to engage in the physical aspect, but like I said, I've never been in a relationship, and at the same time, I'm not saying that it matters. I mean, y'all could debate sex in or out of a relationship all you want, but for me personally, I was coming from a perspective of if I need to focus my energy somewhere else, because sexual energy is very important, especially for you men out there and women, obviously, but especially about productivity. I wanted to refocus my sacral chakra. I wanted to realign myself and move that energy towards something else in hopes that I would manifest what I actually wanted.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been on this journey of celibacy?
Maybe like 2.5 years.
Damn, that's a long time.
Not bad.
I salute that.
Not bad.
That's pretty good.
Not bad. I'm not, and it's no cap. It's serious. Like it's been challenging a lot of times too. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like I definitely in high school. Y'all always used to come at me because I was.
Or you were thought.
I was okay. Hey, I was experimenting. Hey, I was not the head nods over here. Anyway, we gonna keep it on the camera. But definitely, I wanted to, learn a new side of myself, a different aspect to myself that I already knew. So yeah.
So are you planning on? Are you like waiting till you're like in a relationship? Is that the goal? Or are you just going as long as you feel like?
I feel like it's I'm a relationship. I'm not waiting anytime soon, but I'm just waiting for the vibe, for the energy to be right. I'm not waiting for a person. I'm just waiting because I'm 10 toes, so it's nothing. But if it does come, it's cool.
Man, did 2.5 years. I think the longest I've done was like 11 months since I first started having sex. My mom's watching this. I don't have sex.
I told y'all. I'm born again.
I don't know. It resets every year, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
Something like that. That's funny. All right. That's funny. When I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I grew up in church. So like in church, everybody knows like they tell you you're not supposed to have sex until you're married. So like when I was a kid, I used to like think of all these different loopholes to get around that. Like it was like so contrived. Like I dead ass thought like if I had sex before marriage, I was going to hell and it was rap for me.
A lot of people, yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. I thought about doing the celibacy thing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I just personally like I don't know if I can do it personally. Like I just don't really want to. But I support it. You let me. Do you feel like you've changed?
Okay, in some ways yes, and in a lot of ways no. I think it's like I said, it's just anytime you try to make a change in yourself, it's always you against you. So it's just gonna be the version of you that you want to actualize and the version of you that you're used to. So I think a lot of times it's a challenge to not, you know what I mean? Just throw everything out the window and kind of just be an anarchist. Like I'm just gonna say, fuck it. But a lot of times I when I think about it, I think about, you know what I mean? Like I could have a sneaky link. I could do that. Like I could, you know what I mean? It's cool. But then it's like, what happens when we, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna say I'm pressure or whatever, but like at the end of the day, like most of the time, like I want to build lasting, genuine relationships with people, and even if we're not in a relationship, like if I'm fucking with you, like I want to get to know you. I want to know about you. I want to know who you are, and I want to know what gets you going. No pun intended.
Oh my goodness. So do you feel like with other relationships, like having sex with that person maybe ruin potential for something greater?
I think definitely has the potential to do that, because I feel like a lot of times, especially for if you want to look at it from a gender perspective, there's definitely different ways of looking at sex, and people value sex differently. And you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to weigh that out, and you have to use your intuition. You got to use your gut. And that's the thing. Like when you get into these partnerships with people, casual sex is fun. I'm all for it. Protect yourself. Let's make sure we say that one.
Yeah, stay strapped out here.
You know what I mean? STDs and pregnancy risks are real issues. But at the end of the day, it's like when you're looking at it from a basic level of you getting together with somebody and you max, like anybody can say, even when you spend too much time with somebody, you start to pick up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're exchanging energy.
Exactly. So it's the same concept. Like it's very simple, and it's just how you want to approach that exchange.
Do you believe in soul ties?
I do.
I don't. I don't.
I
hear so many people talking about soul tie this, soul tie. I've gotten that lecture from so many people,
Yeah.
and I'm just like I get it. It makes sense. Like, okay, you're like in this really intimate act and all this and all that, but it's just like there are people who I've like hooked up with who I don't think about, who I don't like. I don't care. Like I literally just don't care.
Yeah,
So it's
be
like
honest.
if this soul tie thing is real, then how does that happen? You know what I mean?
Because I agree with you, but it's also like you looking at what you can see and what's unseen. So it's like when you comparing those two things, in my eyes, it's like obviously you're not thinking about them, you're not consciously actively giving your energy, but energy is ways, it surpasses just what consciously is going on. It's your subconscious. It's like how you habituate yourself. Like you may not thinking of them, but they're part of that pattern that, you know what I mean, in your subconscious or whatever you were trying to fuel, they're there. They might not be at the front of your mind. They're not the wife that you imagining, but they somewhere.
Heard you. Now that makes sense. It was never, because I just remember having this conversation with somebody and they were like, Trevor, you got so many soul ties. First of all, I don't even have that many. But I was just like, I don't feel connected to these people. I don't like worry about them. I don't feel like a part of them is it. Because I wouldn't even know that. I don't know them that well.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think you could turn a hoe into a housewife?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I do.
Do tell.
Well, what is
Sorry
a hoe?
For the terms. Exactly.
What is a hoe? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Is that just a woman who's had sex with a lot of people? Like, is that it? Like, for sure. Like, people get over their, like, hoe phases all the time. I just feel like, okay, it depends. It really depends on the person's values. Like, okay, like, because women get labeled hoe and then it's done. Like, it's over for them. So, like, let's say, for example, like, she was just wilding in college. She was just having a good time. And then, like, she grows. It's like, okay, you had a good time and you're over that. Like, I don't see a problem with that. I think if a person has, like, a pattern of not being able to, like, commit to certain things, I think it's less about, like, the wholeness, quote unquote, and more just, like, their overall value structure of, like, okay, are you able to commit to things, not just relationships, but anything? Do you follow through on your commitments? Do you follow through with the things that you're interested in, the things that you're passionate about? Because if not, then that's a bad sign for, a relationship. But I don't think like someone being promiscuous like prevents them from being a healthy partner. I think it's kind of like an easy label to throw on somebody. Like, oh, that person's a hoe. Like, I don't want to like wife them up or whatever. But I just think it's like it's a little judgy. It's a little judgy just to say like, okay, this person's had sex with a lot of people. Like, I'm done. Like, what's a lot? Like, is 15 a lot? Is 30 a lot? Is 100 a lot? Like, what's a lot? It's all relative. So, like, someone might have, like, 6 bodies and someone might be thinking, like, damn, you're a hoe. So, like, I don't really subscribe to that. I think it's perfectly possible. If that person wants to be a housewife, quote unquote, or a house husband or whatever, like, if that person wants to settle down, they'll do it.
Yeah.
So, I just think it's about where they're at personally.
And I think, I did, you know what I mean, ask a kind of hot topic question, but you touched on a lot of important things. It's looking at it from a lot of the gendered ways that we do. We lose a lot of, like, the reality of the situation by trying to put things into labels, or cookie cutter situations, when everybody knows people are more complex than that.
It's a crazy thing. I was thinking about this because it's like we love to compartmentalize things, but it just like doesn't work. Like to put things in neat categories, it never works. But we love to do it, so it's like again, you miss out on so much. And that's one of the things I've been trying to be super intentional about this year. Is like I'm not just gonna prejudge or just throw things in boxes because you'll miss out on so much stuff. One, opportunities to learn about yourself, but also opportunities to learn about the world when you just make a judgment like, oh, I think I know about this based off what I've heard, based off maybe what I've experienced. We'll have one experience with one person, one thing, and we'll cast a complete judgment over it like, okay, I know what this is about. I'm either not fucking with it or I'm fucking with it. And you haven't seen it from all angles. So I think that propensity we have as people to just try to sort everything into categories is both beneficial and can also be like a detriment to our own personal progress. So I try not to do that, and especially when it comes to people, because you literally never know. Like you just don't know people's stories. Like, okay, I might find out, because I call my man's just hoes too, right? So my man says, yo,
he calls me a hoe.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like if my man's like, yo, I just caught 3 bodies this week, I'm like, yo, you a hoe. But it's like, also, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the full story. That might have been his first 3. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I try not to judge people based off what I hear or what I even think I know, because you really never know the full story. You get such a small sliver of everybody's life. You ever have those like moments where you're just like walking or driving in public and you see like another person, you're just like, yo, damn, this person's living a whole complete life. Like when I be driving, I see people in a car, I'm like, I wonder where their house is and I wonder what their home dynamics like. But that's literally it. Like you get such a small screenshot of people's lives that it's like, I'm not gonna cast that judgment because I just don't know.
And that's what it is. It's like we need to be more forgiving, more understanding. Like I had situations just this week where I'm like, meeting new people, you don't know where they're coming from, and you might have different customs, and you're like, yo, why are they acting like that? But then you have to step outside of yourself for a second and be like, there is a reason they're acting like that. So maybe I got to think about it a little differently to try to get in tune with what. But some people just be tweaking. So
facts.
There ain't nothing you can do about that.
That's a fact. That's a fact. But that's also like it's a discernment thing where it's like, all right, sometimes you really got to like separate yourself from people, because I've seen people like literally, I was just talking to somebody before y'all got here. We grew up in the same town. I haven't seen him in probably like 10 years. But we were just talking about some people that we like went to middle school and elementary school with, and the different like paths people took. And you can see like just by the people you associate yourself with how different your life can turn out. So it's like there is some level of like, you do have to make a judgment at some point. I don't judge people, but I do judge whether I fit in this situation. So if I look at your behaviors on a continuous basis and it just doesn't align with where I'm at, then I'm going to have to remove myself. And I think that's, again, different than judging someone. Like, okay, well, I don't know what's going on in your life. You might be doing mad drugs or something like that because your family life is fucked up. And I'm not judging you, but based off the situation, based off where I want to go, I can't be around that. And I think that's an important distinction that people have to make. And when you don't do it, like, it can really, really, really alter how your life goes. That shit is crazy. But I think I'm gonna this has been a great conversation. Absolutely. Put a pause in this one. We could do another episode of these niggas over here.
Yeah, ready?
But let's call that an episode. If y'all like this format of us just coming on talking shit, let me know. It's all about the feedback. But yeah, make sure you give this a like, comment, subscribe. If you see it on TikTok or something, make sure you follow me. 5 stars on Spotify, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And just let me know how y'all feeling. But yeah, like I said, there's been another episode of the Global Renaissance Podcast. We'll be back with you.